I have a very, very touchy topic, but I just want to tell you that if you develop a system or a routine and maintain that system or routine, then you don't have to give in to anything. You don't have to give in to anything if you build that routine and maintain it. Okay? Anybody heard of the story of Samson and Delilah? Samson and Delilah? Yeah? Well, let me tell you the story, because a lot of people didn't raise their hand. Samson, a long, long, long time ago, in a little small town called Zorah, it's a biblical story, okay? Just to give you a heads up. An angel came to this woman and said, you're going to be pregnant with a son. And he's going to be, you have to dedicate it to God, because he's going to be very, very talented. And so when the baby was born, the mother of Zorah called that little boy Samson. Now Samson, he grew to be one of the strongest men in the world. And because of that, a lot of people hated him. But one thing that the angel said to the lady of Zorah, don't ever, 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 ever cut off his hair. Now Samson, just to paint a picture, you realize the story now? See, Samson, he had 7 locks. So imagine 7 of these. 7 of them, all right? That's going to come back in the story. So Samson, because people hated him so much that a group of people, they called it Philistines, they came to the girl that Samson loved and said, if you entice him, or in other words, if you flirt with him to get him to tell you his secret, why he's so strong, then we'll give you 1,100 pieces of silver, each one of us. So imagine a group of us, and your woman, we're going to flip the script. Your woman, we pull her to the side and say, he has extreme confidence. When you get up here and you say you a dedicated man or you a strong man here in Morgan, if you can tell us where his source of confidence is from, we'll give you 1,100 pieces of silver. Everybody in this group. You think she'll do it? No. Well, her name was Delilah, and she agreed to the deal. So you know what Delilah did? Before I tell you, I want to tell you what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about one of the most potent drugs. Okay? I want to talk about a drug that is not going to give you a high for 20 or 30 minutes. If you allow it, it can take over your whole life. It can be one of the most costly drugs, but at the same time, it's free. You know what drug I want to talk to you about? I want to talk to you about lust. It's a drug that I used to be addicted to. So I have a lot of experience talking about it. Now, I want to tell you about my first hit of lust. You know, that first hit. Yeah. When I was first introduced to lust. I used to sell candy when I was in high school. I went up to Juno. Anybody heard of Juno? Juno? Yeah, I used to go to Juno, and I was a freshman. I used to sell candy, and everybody knew I was a candy man. And we only had 5 minutes in between each class, so I had to hurry up and sell that money. I had to make that money. And my mother used to give me gold. She used to supply me with the candy. And whenever I got done selling that candy, I'd bring that candy back to my mother, and she'd give me my cup. But this day, when I was introduced to lust, everybody was going back to their classroom. I was stuffing my candy back in my locker. And then my eye caught the attention of 2 of the finest sophomores at Juno. And they're walking past. I don't know what it was, but something in me just said, hi. I said hi. And they was like, hi. And I was like, yeah. You know, I was feeling it. And I don't know. And like I said, this is my first, I didn't know what it was, but something just said something. So I'm feeling good and stuff, so I'm putting my locker, my candy back in my locker, and then I can just feel somebody approaching me. And one of the girls came back. And it was let's put it this way. It was the less conservative of the two. Let me put it another way. She was one of the finest ones. She was out there. She, like, you know what I mean? There's a couple of terminologies that I want to use, but I can't because it's not the appropriate term. But just get in the picture of the type of girl that was there. So she was like, she recognized me. She said, "Aren't you the freshman that sell candy?" I was like, "Yeah." And so as soon as I said it, her eyes went down to the candy at the bottom of my locker, and I knew that she had something I wanted. I mean, I had something that she wanted. So I don't know what it was, but something told me. Then she asked for the candy, but something told me to tell her that, give me a kiss, and I'll give her my bag of candy. Now I knew that I had a sales goal to meet, but something in me just wanted that kiss so bad. You remember your first kiss? Yeah. Yeah? That kiss is just amazing, ain't it? Well, I asked her for a kiss, and she kissed me on my cheek. I gave her my candy. Then I realized how dumb of a decision. But anyway, let's get back to Samson. So, Matthew 26:41 says, "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation." Let me repeat that. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. My body was weak when I was at that locker. I knew I had a sales goal to meet, but my body was weak. Samson's body is the same way. Samson, he was the strongest man in the world, but his body was weak. So here's the first attempt. Delilah came to him and was like, "Samson, what's your source of strength? And what can bound you in a way where you cannot break loose?" And you know what Samson said? He said, "If you take 7 branches, 7 bendable branches, and tie them around me, I will be as weak as any other man." So you know what Delilah did? She ran over to the Philistines. She wanted that 1,100 pieces of silver from each one of them, right? She said, "Give me 7 pieces of bendable rope, and we'll get the job done." So she waited till Samson went to sleep. Got the rope. People waiting outside his door, outside his own house. Philistines waiting outside his own house. She got the rope, tied them up. And then she was like, "Samson, Samson, the Philistines are here to get you, come to capture you." And he woke up, he broke off the 7 bendable branches, and he got into the fighting position, but nobody was there. So she said, "You lied to me. You said that you would be bound up." She said, "Samson, tell me, what is it that will bound you up and keep you from breaking loose?" He said, okay. He said, "If you tie me up with 7 pieces of rope that never been used, I won't break loose. I'll be just as weak as another man." And you know what she did? You know what Delilah did? She ran right back to the Philistines because she wanted that money. She got 7 pieces of rope that was never bound. She waited till Samson fell asleep. People were waiting right outside, wrapped him up again. So she said, "Samson, Samson, the Philistines are here to capture you. Wake up." He woke up, broke loose from the rope again. She said, "You lied to me.